But yeah, let's move into the actual proper buy, hold, and sells if we can get the stinger ready.
Oh, I haven't yet.
Oh, he hasn't got it prepped. Oh, what a fraud.
Yeah, here we go.
Target acquired.
Obviously, no surprises. James Chiller headlines this list. 238K, minus 117 break even. We bullied this guy hard in the preseason. He was the butt of all jokes. Bit of James Chiller about him. But fuck me, he's actually now our top buy option this week, Mattrix. It's come full circle. We are living in a simulation.
Yeah, I know. Like he's been joked since 2012 for me. Because I got him for that week 1 and then had to hold him all year. He was the only guy that I held all year, I think. But yeah, look, he's there. He had a fantastic game last week. And yeah, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Minus 117 break even. He makes 110K just by getting named today. So load up. Next one, Crichton. I assume this is not the Stephen variety. This will be the Angus variety. 400.
Yes.
400 at 20K. Back starting. Looked really good last week. Like, looked unreal. Back to his best. Concerns over the minutes. I think he probably plays 60 at the worst. Satili can rotate through the middle, which is really nice. They've also got Zach Docker-Clay on the bench, and Brandon Smith is not exactly a 80-minute middle. So I think there's some good minutes up for grabs for Satili through the middle, which I think opens the door for Angus Crichton. Looks really good. I think it's him and Nat Butcher moving forward, and Satili offers a lot of versatility off the bench as well. Another back rower, Eli Katoa. Well done to the people that picked him up last week. He's always been a guy that we've loved on this podcast. He offers so much. He's improved dramatically in terms of the negatives. He doesn't give away as many penalties, doesn't give away as many missed tackles as what he once did, but still has that dynamic upside. And playing in a Melbourne Storm team who's attacking pretty free-flowingly at the moment. So Eli Katoa, really, really like him.
Yeah, we were talking about Britton Nicker, and I said he was probably the best line runner. Look, Eli Katoa is probably the one that could rival him.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, 690K, it's hard. But if you've got money in the bank, then hey, get him in. The draw's fantastic. I think that you could, you wouldn't be surprised if for 5 weeks Eli Katoa averaged 80.
Oh, I'll put you on the spot here. Would you rather Eli Katoa or would you rather Hama Olakawatu?
Eli Katoa.
Because Hamale is 697K, so very similar price, averaging 74 in the season. And Eli Katoa, I think, is pipping him slightly because I did the team of the season post yesterday and I remember him being in there. He's averaging 74. So I think Hamale is just pipping him by 0.8 of a point. But Melbourne's draw opens up really nicely.
Melbourne's draw has been awful. And Ellie's scoring well.
So that's them. The next is Joey Manu, probably less of a priority. This is more of a short-term play because we have no security over Tedesco. But more of a long-term play is these two boys, Kalen Ponga, Reece Walsh. Shout out if you sold Kalen Ponga in round 3. This guy did. It's worked really amazingly ever since. Disastrous, but you can get him back in. Like KP, he's found that form that he had last year. He's making all the sellers look like right mugs. Knights are looking somewhat decent, and he's just involved in everything. He's a guy that just all those marginal 50-50 calls with like line break assists or line breaks or just try contributions / try assists. He always seems to get them, and you can sit there and say, "Oh, it's bullshit," blah blah blah. We know it's bullshit. Nico Hines is the king of bullshit. We know what happens, so just get on. Don't fight it. KP, absolute stud, back to his absolute best. When you're paying a pretty premium dollar for him, I think he's just a touch under 900K.
How crazy is it that he scored 100 in that game? Honestly, I was just sitting there wowed. I did not expect a loop last week, but hey, Callum.
Yeah, because you held through. You're the more sensible one out of you, and Brano. But you held through, and he's now 889K with a break even of 33. So he tons up again this week. We're looking at what's that? 960K.
Yeah,
950K. Nearly pushing a mil. His form in the last couple of weeks has been extraordinary. 50, 45 to start the season, not great. Then took on Melbourne and scored an 86, and then went into the Warriors and the Dragons and gone 117 and 117. So unreal. Taking on the Roosters this week at McDonald Jones again, a Roosters side who somehow conceded points to Blake Taff of all people. So it's worrying signs when Blake Taff is scoring points on you, KP.
It was playing 11 people, but sure.
No, not at the start of the game.
Oh yeah, actually,
Blake
not
Taff
when
scored off
Blake
that scrum play. I was like, "Fuck it, hell, what is going on here?" And the last one, Reece Walsh. This one probably less safe than KP, but just pure vibes. Goal kicking, which is great. Doesn't probably have the upside of KP, but in a much better attacking team. Doesn't have AJ, not AJ. Doesn't have Adam Reynolds, which isn't ideal, but it does give him more points for goal kicking. So Reece Walsh with that 130 break even, but with an absolute golden draw for you guys. I think it opens up really nicely. I think you guys should be going 4-5-0. I'll pull up the draw exactly, but I know it gets amazing.
I had some Dolphins fans telling me how much better they were going than the Broncos because have a look at the ladder at the moment, and I was like, just have a look at the teams you've played, man.
Dolphins this week at Suncorp, Raiders next week at Suncorp, Titans next, Tigers the week after. The Rabbit, my goodness, let me try again. Dolphins, Raiders, Tigers, Roosters, Parramatta, Manly, Titans, Sharks. Souths, goodness, it's pretty good. Like, there is a world where you can buy Walshy and just hold him through. They have the buy in round 13, which is amazing for Reece Walsh because he was missing round 13 anyway. They have the buy in round 16, which is amazing for Reece Walsh because he was missing round 16 anyway. You only miss one game from Reece Walsh between now and the season. Sorry, now and round 24. You miss one game of Reece Walsh between now and round 24 that he wasn't scheduled to miss. He could be a keeper from now until the end.
Yeah. Look, there is concerns. Like he's come back from the eye injury, and cops anything there, he could be out again. But
that's the concern.
Reece Walsh gets more involved with A-Ray out too. Like,
he's everywhere. I don't know what it is, but like the Knights look really clunky in attack, and whenever the Knights get inside the 20, I'm just like, sure. But whenever the Broncos get inside the 20 and Walsh has the ball, I'm like, fuck me, what's going to happen? Like, this is going to kill me. For KP, does have a tough stretch during the middle and during Origin as well. So takes on the Roosters this week, Bulldogs, Dolphins, Warriors, Tigers, Titans, Bulldogs. Nice run there. Takes on the Warriors at McDonald Jones, which is good. Then takes on Melbourne, then takes on Penrith, then takes on the bye, and then Parramatta. So it's a tougher period there. Then takes on Manly, Broncos, Penrith in a 3-week stretch, and then finishes the season with South, Titans, Dolphins. I think there's a world where you go Reece Walsh this week over KP and don't trade them until round 24 when you go back to KP. It's going to suck, but I think that's definitely an option.
Yeah, look, I don't hate it. I won't be going anywhere from I suppose KP, but Reece Walsh, like, even like a term.
I mean, I'm not sitting here saying sell KP to Walsh. Like, I'm more talking, I guess, people in my situation that somehow own Latrell Mitchell. Yeah. And I'm looking at Walsh versus KP, and I think Ian Johnson makes a good point. He says here KP has the better floor, but KP's got the better ceiling. Walsh is more likely to go for a 15 than KP is.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the reality of it. But in saying that, I think Walsh should go on a consistent run of hundreds, and we saw that last year.
No, I'm with you. Look, you don't have to talk up Broncos players to me. I'm on board, man.
I've come full circle. I hated the little prick last year because I never owned him, and he just kept being on 10 points at 70 minutes and finishing on 100, and it just fucking made me so depressed. I'm just like, I hated him so much, but now I've learned to love him. So let's move into the holds. You've put in the notes here, hold. No one. Swing the axe for everyone. you just making changes for the sake of changes?
Yeah, 100%. No, look, there's some guys here that I'd consider holding. There's also some guys in here that I wasn't considering trading. And in our DMs, you were like, oh yeah, throw that guy in. I was like, yeah, I was holding him anyway, but that makes that a good call. So
yes.
Look, I'll grab a couple there. Burbo, 100% is a hold at the moment. And we mentioned earlier that 12 break even. He was probably a sell 3 weeks ago. But yeah, look, if you've got him, now isn't the time to get him in the centers. He's always a chance of scoring a try. I don't know if I play him, but you definitely hold him. You're gonna that cash generation is going to start to ramp up. He's going to score more than 12.
Absolutely. Sean Lane, it's icky, it's yucky. We don't love it, but I think that there's just been enough to park. If you have a team that's got no fires, yes, you can sell Sean Lane. That's absolutely fine. He's still averaging 47 on the season, and he's been terrible. Comes into an okay draw. Obviously takes on the Cowboys this week at CommBank, probably the best place to play at CommBank if you're a Titans. Then takes on the Dolphins, Manly, and then a bye in round 9. You could probably look to jump off in round 9. That's what I'm going to be looking at doing, because then he takes on the Broncos, Melbourne, and Souths. Hopefully Souths have turned the corner by then. And then, yeah, you can probably just look to sell before that. I think he's shown enough to hold if your team's in dire straits.
No, I am with you there. Ruben Garrick will miss a week. It sucks. Ruben Garrick's great.
Whatever.
But yeah, there's no real reason to get rid of him this week. You're going to miss players. There's buys throughout the year now. Hopefully you've got enough depth to cover. Ruben Garrick should just roll back and be back into it.
Also, I think he's a keeper. We've shown enough from him to suggest that he's a season keeper. So if you have him, I wouldn't be changing him out then. And Terrell May, as we've already alluded to before, I think his minutes were just a combination of the situation. I'm not too worried. If it keeps happening, then we can look at having this conversation. But
if you've got 11 players out on the park, where do you start digging out from?
Oh, of course. You start flooding your edges, because you know that's where people are going to attack. So you take out middles and just keep edges on. So I fully get that. Like, if it happens 2 or 3 weeks in a row, we've obviously got Josh Curran now that we can move up there. But I'm not concerned at all. Let's move into the sells, the players we're going to cash in on. Dylan Brown, the most must-have 5'8" 5 weeks ago. The man that you need to be building a team around. He gets you 60 points by walking on the park. He's the best 5'8" by a country mile. It's not even close. He's now at their top priority sell.
Yeah. I didn't think I'd ever be saying this after a guy gets injured 2 weeks later, but I'm glad I went Brown to Luke Metcalf earlier on in the season.
I haven't got much right, but I'm glad I went Brown to Val Holmes last week.
Yeah. Look, and you know what? There was a joke in the chat that brown is the color of poo. Look, honestly, if Mitchell Moses was out there, I 100% would own Brown. I think you would still own Brown as well. But I know we're talking about Lane a hold, but he's also a guy that was 400K. They're
Brown
just
700 plus.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't want stocks in Parramatta players at the moment. We were spruiking Gutho as well, and that didn't work out well. I have no interest in Parramatta players until Mitchell Moses is back. And honestly, I might own all 3 of these guys, Dillbags, Gutho, and Moses at one stage if Moses can sort them out. So
we then move into the 3-headed dragon from the Roosters. Dom Young, Steely Sipanua, James Tedesco. Dom Young, a process of being out for 3 weeks, and he's going to lose any bit of cash you made on him with the monster break even. Steely Sipanua, a product of just being shit, and James Tedesco being a product of better players in his position while he's out. Ruben Garrick, there's enough centre wing cover. You can get enough points out of cheapies. We saw that with Ethan Strange. You can get enough centre wing points out of cheapies. I don't think it's worth holding to that. He's been great, but he hasn't been elite to suggest he's a fine hold with the indefinites over his absence.
I wouldn't sell Teddy unless he just got injured and had that big history. If concussions. Let's talk about Luke Keary when he gets a concussion. That's 4 weeks.
Exactly. I mean, if Teddy came out and dropped a 40 last week and he wasn't injured, we're not having this conversation because he has those games.
And Latrell, I suppose you can speak for that, but 3 weeks off.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. It's so shit because I said this to Braino, he got 70 last week doing fuck all, and that's what Trell does. When he's on, fucking elite, Supercoach wise, absolute freak, but he's just not interested, and he's now out. So it's whatever. I was selling him next week anyway, so
he'll be doing fuck all this week, but he won't get you 70.
No, he will continue to do fuck all, but yes, the points won't come. Moving into the watch list this week, got a couple. Got Kale Ero, 219K. Obviously, yeah, we're seeing what happens with Talakai and that rotation and potentially teamless Tuesday next week. Tomato Martin, 363K. I think Tomato Martin is owed an apology by you, Mattrix, because I think you were giving him some real slander last week when I brought up the idea of him potentially being an option.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, I thought you said that he could be 200K and you still wouldn't buy him.
Oh no, 100%. I love Tamari Martin. That might have been random.
I don't know. Maybe I'm
I
just
100 wouldn't. I got Tamari Martin in. Dad's team has Tamari Martin in it. So
sorry. So you got him for your dad's team, or your dad got him?
No, Dad got him. But elite. Yeah, no, I actually think could possibly be looking at him with how poor 5'8s are. I love Tamari Martin. Like, I think it's a great story. And yeah, just wait and see what happens. Like, there was no reason really to get him last week. There's no real reason to get him this week. He's injury prone. We've still got Chanel Harris Tavita, who I actually expected to get that spot. But, Tamari Martin, yeah, if he locks this spot down, which he didn't do himself any disservice this week, he was elite. Tamari Martin could be a buy, especially 5'8's a wasteland. So
yeah, we've said that. I mean, go have a look at my weekly posts for the team of the season. You can see in the averages, like if I pull up the averages now, 5'8 is just fucking dead. I think Matt Burton is the 5'8 one this season. He's only averaging 62.8.
One good score.
Yeah, like if I'm going through the team of the season, it's Edwards with a 90, it's Holmes with a 91, Lomax 82, Hammer 86, Mortalo 85, Jerome Hughes 80, Fanua Blake 69, Robson 78. Stefano Tuikamanu was not a name I expected to see in the team of the season, but he's got a 62 and a half. And then all your back rowers are mid 70s, and like Matt Burton has the second lowest in this team with a 62.8. So 5'8's dead, and there's been plenty of questions about what do you do with 5'8 if you do sell Brown? Like, do you go another 5'8? And I think you can just run Galvin and Strange. I've highlighted one of those questions that we'll touch on as well. But yeah, grim. And the Broncos bench rotation with only two forwards, giving them a watch might be a must-have. Obviously, we've got X on the bubble. Is he a guy that you're prioritizing this week? Because we didn't talk about him as a buy, but is he still a guy that you're picking up? Because he's 265K with a break even of -6.
I just think when Payne Haas comes in, I think that he's probably the guy that drops off. Like, Kobe Hetherington's been there for a few years. I think X will be a player in the future, but I think it might take, someone like a Corey Jensen or somebody like that moving on in the future for X to like lock in a full-time bench spot. I just don't think he's there yet.
I also just don't think he has enough upside. Like, if he just pumps out 30s, amazing. If you started with him, sick. But like, do you want to be trading a guy that's just going to get you 35 points and like maybe get you 150K value? Like, probably not. At least with Schiller, you know that he's in and out. Like, he's not an AE risk, whereas Wilson could be. If you started with him, amazing. If you are looking at buying him, I probably just wouldn't. And that suggests that he's only been traded in by 510 people so far, which is surprisingly low. More people have traded him out than, 202 people have traded him out and 510 have traded him in. And that's surprising because I thought, him with the low break even, maybe it's because he didn't play last week and people are just forgetting about him. But yeah, he's definitely one to consider.